Iran said significant progress was made in nuclear negotiations with the US, and both sides agreed to further discussions next week. France has sent an aircraft carrier to Sweden to boost defense in Northern Europe.
After the tragic train accident at Tempe, railway traffic in Greece has decreased significantly. However, now it shows signs of stabilization and recovery.
Iran and the United States made significant progress in talks in Switzerland on Thursday, mediators said after the latest round of negotiations, and agreed to further discussions next week. The two sides adjourned after around 3 hours of talks and resumed the discussions later in the day.
میتونم بگم که در این چندین ساعت طولانی و بسیار فشرده پیشرفت خوبی رو داشت و خیلی جدی وارد عناصر یک توافق شدیم، هم در حوزه هسته‌ای و هم در حوزه تحریم‌ها.
The talks were not expected to lead to a breakthrough, and the U.S. continues to waste strikes as it gathers a massive fleet of aircraft and warships in the region. Last Thursday, U.S. President Donald Trump gave Tehran 15 days to reach a deal. Trump wants Iran to completely halt its enrichment of uranium and roll back both its long-range missile program and its support for regional armed groups. Iran says it will only discuss nuclear issues and maintains its atomic program is for entirely peaceful purposes.
Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has proposed a fact-finding mission be deployed to the Ukrainian section of the Druzhba pipeline to assess the damage caused last month by a Russian attack, prompting a suspension in crude deliveries to Hungary and Slovakia. Orbán said in a letter sent to European Council President Antonio Costa and seen by Euronews that it's in his country's interest to restore oil transfers as soon as possible. The Hungarian leader proposed that experts delegated by Hungary and Slovakia accompany the mission to, quote, verify the status of the pipeline, asserting that Budapest will accept the findings of such a mission. The Druzhba pipeline sits at the forefront of sky-high tensions between Hungary and Ukraine, with Budapest accusing Kyiv of politicizing the issue at their detriment. It also led to Hungary vetoing a €90 billion EU assistance loan to Ukraine, agreed on by leaders in December. Orbán admitted that he's aware of the political difficulties his last-minute veto has created and says his initiative is aimed at reaching a timely resolution to the issue. The Hungarian premier highlighted the absurdity of the situation, saying he conceded by agreeing to the loan he personally disapproved of, only for Ukraine to, quote, create an emergency situation in Hungary. The tone of the letter is, however, a significant step back from Orbán, who has more recently endorsed incendiary language towards the EU and Kyiv. Just last week, he accused Brussels of colluding with the opposition ahead of the upcoming elections to remove him and install a pro-Ukraine government in Hungary. In the middle of Berlin stands a van that was hit by a Russian drone in Ukraine. The vehicle was a so-called social taxi operated by two aid workers, Oleg Konechsalnik and Oleg Degusarov, in the Kherson region. An Olense wants to show the weapons being used in this war and has transported the vehicle back to display at the Berlin Story Bunker Museum.
Das ist eine 300-Euro-Drohne, die sieht aus wie von AliExpress. Und sagen die, ja, die ist von AliExpress. Und dass man ihnen sagen kann, ja, so klein kann man Menschen töten. Und dann sieht man zum Beispiel die 7,5 Meter Cruise Missile oder die 3,5 Meter Supercam. Und dann sagen die, oh, so groß geht's auch. Und genau das, einfach das mal sehen und anfassen, das ist für uns auch der schwierige Spagat.
Oleg Salnik was only 28 years old when he was killed in the attack. He worked as a volunteer in the Kherson region in southern Ukraine, which parts of remain under Russian control today. With this initiative, he aimed to assist those who wanted to remain in their hometowns.
Er wollte bleiben, als die Russen kamen. Er ist auch in der besetzten Stadt geblieben. Er ist danach geblieben und hat gesagt, das ist meine Stadt. Und egal wie es hier aussieht, ich bleibe, ich helfe. Und er hätte gehen können. Also er hat die Papiere gehabt, das Land zu verlassen, weil er in russische Gefangenschaft geraten ist. Er hätte in Kiew leben können. Er hätte irgendwas anderes machen können. Und er hat immer gesagt, nein, ich bleibe in meiner Stadt, weil wenn alle gehen, ist keiner mehr da.
Lense knew the two aid workers personally and used to drive the van himself. For him, it was clear. The vehicle had to go back to Berlin to illustrate to the outside world what a war crime looks like.
The European Commission said on Thursday that member states can use an EU social fund to provide access to abortion for women who are legally prevented from doing so in their home country. The decision comes in response to the citizens' initiative, My Voice, My Choice. The group called on the EU to help women with no access to safe abortions and raised over 1 million signatures for its campaign last year.
When 1.2 million citizens raised their voice, when the European Parliament sent a clear democratic signal, and when civil society mobilizes across the borders, we saw that at the end of the day, the European Commission cannot look away.
The Commission is relying on the already existing European Social Fund. It stopped short from establishing a new specific funding mechanism, which had been requested by the European Parliament in December.
The European Social Fund Plus is a shared management, a shared managed fund, both by the Commission and the Member States. EU money is made available to Member States to enhance access to affordable abortion, while Member States ensure the funds reach women seeking safe and accessible abortion.
While acknowledging that a new legal instrument wasn't created, the campaigners still celebrated the decision. According to the organizers, the development acknowledges the core objectives of the campaign and creates a pathway to implement them in practice.
France has sent an aircraft carrier to Sweden to boost defense in northern Europe. Named Charles de Gaulle, the nuclear-powered warship is France's biggest, and its deployment is aimed at strengthening bilateral ties as well as regional cooperation on defense.
En fait, c'est effectivement un signal très important. Effectivement, ça montre que la France est capable déjà de déployer son groupe aéronaval, qui est un instrument majeur de projection de puissance. C'est un instrument qui démontre notre interopérabilité avec nos alliés.
The boat will play a key role in NATO exercises this spring in the North Sea and Arctic as alliance members seek to beef up their presence along Europe's northern and eastern maritime flanks. The exercises come at a time of increased Russian maritime activity in the area and shifting U.S. interests in the Arctic.
Research shows that among Poles born between 1995 and 2006, 15% do not have and do not intend to ever have children. Permanent forms of contraception, such as vasectomy, are gaining popularity. Not only among the young and childless, but also among those who want to stop at a certain number of offspring. An influencer and a father of two, Kamil Pawelski, also decided to undergo the procedure.
Była to decyzja spowodowana tym, że wiedziałem, że nie chcę, żeby moja żona stosowała terapię hormonalną, ponieważ zdawaliśmy sobie sprawę, że ona nie wpływa dobrze na jej funkcjonowanie, na jej zdrowie, a jednocześnie też mieliśmy świadomość tego, że nie chcemy mieć więcej dzieci, więc tak, to było takie wzięcie odpowiedzialności troszeczkę za ten temat i ściągnięcie też takiej presji pamiętania o tabletkach czy jakiejkolwiek innej formie antykoncepcji.
As most vasectomies are performed privately, there are no official statistics, but the National Health Fund estimates that around 5,000 such procedures are performed in Poland each year. They are commercialized and advertisements can be found online and on roadside billboards. Meanwhile, tubal ligation, which is the equivalent procedure for women, is illegal in Poland. The exception is medical indications when pregnancy threatens the life or health of the woman.
W większości krajów Europy Zachodniej zabieg podwiązywania jewodów jest legalny. Najczęściej ginekolodzy z krajów Europy Zachodniej są zaskoczeni, że u nas tak to prawo wygląda, że jest tak ograniczone tutaj. Tylko ze wskazań medycznych możliwość wykonania tego zabiegu.
Polish women engage in medical tourism and decide to undergo sterilization in Germany, Czechia and Slovakia, where clinics describe procedures in Polish and even offer packages that include transportation and accommodation.
Στην Ελλάδα δεν υπάρχει σιδηροδρομική κουλτούρα όπως σε άλλες χώρες, κυρίως της Κεντρικής Ευρώπης. Μετά το τραγικό δυστύχημα των τεμπών, η επιβατική κίνηση στα τρένα μειώθηκε κατακόρυφα, ωστόσο πλέον δείχνει σημάδια σταθεροποίησης και ανάκαμψης. Ωστόσο, οι επιβάτες που επιλέγουν τα τρένα για τη μετακίνησή τους αισθάνονται ασφαλείς?
Όχι.
Προτιμώ να μην κυκλοφορώ με το τρένο. Δεν το παίρνω.
Είναι στον άνθρωπο. Άλλος νιώθει άλλος όχι.
Αισθάνομαι ασφαλής και τα χρησιμοποιώ.
Εγώ προσωπικά ασφαλής αισθάνομαι.
3 years after the deadly train accident in Tempe, Euronews investigated train safety and sought answers from all parties.
Σήμερα τα τρένα είναι πιο ασφαλή από ό,τι ήταν στα Τέμπη και πολύ πιο ασφαλή από ό,τι ήταν το 2019. Το 2019 στο Αθήνα-Θεσσαλονίκη είχαμε μόλις 1% σύστημα τηλεδιοίκησης, μόλις 5 χιλιόμετρα τα 500 στα οποία θα έπρεπε να είναι εγκατεστημένο. Σήμερα έχουμε 80% και το καλοκαίρι που μας έρχεται, σε ένα εξάμηνο, θα έχουμε 100% σηματοδότηση, 100% τηλεδιοίκηση και 100% ETCS, σύστημα που δεν υπήρχε.
Real-life condition simulators are something new for Greece. They are now being used to train employees of the Greek railways.
Οι εκπαιδεύσεις να γίνονται συχνότερα, με μεγαλύτερη χρονική διάρκεια και ο μηχανοδηγός είναι ένας επαγγελματίας ο οποίος πρέπει να επιμορφώνεται συνεχώς.
According to officials, a state-of-the-art train geolocation system has been created in collaboration with Elon Musk's Starlink satellite system, marking a European first.
Αυτό το σύστημα είναι πρωτοποριακό για την Ευρώπη. Είναι μια τεχνολογία εχμής η οποία με δορυφορικό ίντερνετ, με επίγειους σταθμούς και με πομπούς ακριβίας μπορεί να αλλάξει πλήρως το μοντέλο με το οποίο λειτουργεί ο σιδηρόδρομος και να προσθέσει μια δικλείδα απέναντι στα ανθρώπινα λάθη.